Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Genoa City was never quiet for long. Secrets had a way of clawing their way to the surface, and this week they were ripping through families like a storm that refused to pass. Mariah Copeland stood outside the Chancellor mansion gripping her phone so tightly her knuckles had turned white. Just hours earlier, she had made the call that changed everything. Abby's voice on the other end had been ice cold, trembling not with fear, but fury. "Stay away from my son." The words echoed in Mariah's mind now as she finally stepped back into Genoa City, the town she had fled in shame. She told herself she was ready to face the consequences. She believed she deserved them, but believing and living through them were two different things. Inside the mansion, Abby Chancellor was unraveling. Dominic was finally asleep upstairs, blissfully unaware of the chaos surrounding his tiny world. Abby stood near the window, staring out into the winter gray sky, her arms folded tightly across her chest as if holding herself together. Devon Hamilton tried to reach her. "Abby, we need to talk about this." "There's nothing to talk about," she snapped. "She kidnapped our son." The word hung heavy between them. Kidnapped. It didn't matter that Mariah hadn't been in her right mind. It didn't matter that trauma had triggered something deep and dangerous. All Abby saw was her child gone, her world shattered. Devon understood anger, he understood betrayal, but he also understood Mariah. "She wasn't herself," Devon said quietly, "you know that." Abby turned on him, eyes flashing. "And what if next time she's not herself again? What if Dom is the one who pays the price?" Devon had no answer for that. At Crimson Lights, Sharon Roselle sat stiffly in her chair while Chelsea Lawson cautiously tried to navigate the emotional minefield. What was she thinking? Chelsea asked carefully. Did she really believe she could just leave with him? Sharon's expression tightened. Mariah wasn't thinking, not clearly. She spoke about Ian Ward's psychological shadow, about how trauma never truly disappeared. It waited, it lingered, it struck when defenses were down. Chelsea nodded, though her curiosity still simmered beneath the surface. She knew what it meant to lose control. She had been there herself, and maybe that was why she kept pressing. "How are you holding up?" Sharon exhaled slowly. "There's a lightness that's gone. I don't know if I'll ever get it back." Across town, Tessa Porter was fighting a battle of her own. Her wife had returned, fragile and remorseful. But Daniel Romalotti had been there during the collapse, during the uncertainty. Tessa had made promises to both men she loved in different ways. Mariah walked through the door of their home, her eyes searching for comfort. Tessa stepped forward, hugging her tightly, but even in that embrace there was hesitation. "I'm going to fix this," Mariah whispered. Tessa wanted to believe her. Meanwhile, at Newman Ranch, Victor Newman stood like a king surveying his battlefield. Kane Ashby had returned to Genoa City thinking he could outmaneuver the great Victor Newman. Instead, he had walked straight into a war. "You thought you could play me?" Victor asked coolly. Kane's jaw tightened. "I was protecting my interests." Victor stepped closer. "Now you'll learn what it feels like to lose control." They had been trading blows since Kane's return, but this was different. This was personal. Elsewhere, Nick Newman was unraveling in ways that worried Sharon deeply. His addiction had resurfaced, subtle at first. A drink here, a rationalization there. But the tension at Newman Enterprises, the corporate sabotage, the family fractures, it was all pushing him toward dangerous territory. One bad decision was all it took. And Nick was about to make one. Sally Spectra had already detonated one bomb this week. Billy Abbott had believed foolishly that she would stand by him no matter what. Instead, she ended it. Clean, sharp, final. "You don't listen, Billy," Sally said. "You charge forward and expect everyone to follow." He tried to argue, he tried to charm his way back in, but Sally had already checked out. Then she dropped another piece of devastating news. The deal he had been counting on, it was collapsing. Billy stood there stunned as Sally walked away. And that was just Tuesday. By Wednesday, Victoria Newman had her sights set firmly on Billy. "You don't get to burn everything down and walk away smiling," she warned him. Billy smirked. "You've always underestimated me." Victoria Landon slightly. "No, I just know you." Jack Abbott wasn't about to let his brother implode the family legacy either. If Billy thought he was executing some grand master plan, Jack was prepared to throw a wrench into it. "Think this through," Jack urged. Billy scoffed. "I already have." That was the problem. Meanwhile, Newman was done playing polite. When Nikki vowed revenge, people listened. "You cross my family," she said icily, "you answer to me." The enemy in question would soon learn that Nikki's fury was every bit as dangerous as Victor's. Across town, Sally and Audra Charles raised glasses in celebration, but the victory felt thin. Too many alliances were shifting, too many enemies were forming. Nothing in Genoa City stayed simple. And no one was safe. Thursday exploded with revelations no one saw coming. Victoria cornered Billy once again, delivering what she called a reality check. "You're spiraling," she told him, "and you're dragging everyone down with you." Billy brushed her off, but there was something in his eyes, uncertainty. Then came the bombshell Genoa City wasn't prepared for. Malcolm Winters was returning. For the news spread like wildfire, old wounds reopened, old rivalries reignited, and Lily Winters' sudden disappearance suddenly looked far more complicated. Devon and Nate Hastings compared notes. "Something not adding up," Nate said. Devon nodded grimly. "Where is she?" As speculation grew, so did suspicion. Back at Newman Ranch, Nikki surprised even herself by questioning Victor. "Are you going too far?" Victor raised an eyebrow. "I never go too far." But Nikki knew her husband. When Victor went rogue, collateral damage followed. Meanwhile, Kane made a shocking move. He approached Daniel. "I want an alliance," Kane said bluntly. Daniel blinked. "With you." Kane's desperation was barely concealed. His power had been stripped, his leverage gone, he needed a foothold. Daniel considered it briefly, then reality set in. Aligning with Kane was like boarding a sinking ship. Across town, Claire Grace approached Holden with a proposition. "Let's trade secrets," she said. Holden studied her carefully. Secrets in Genoa City were currency and weapons. He was tempted. Very tempted. Friday arrived heavy with consequences. Abby stood firm in her decision. Fresh from the trauma of Dominic's kidnapping, she established new boundaries. "No unsupervised visits, no sudden appearances, nothing without my approval." Mariah accepted it. What choice did she have? Devon supported Abby publicly, but privately he remained conflicted. Could they ever truly move forward if forgiveness wasn't part of the equation? Nick's downward spiral intensified. Sharon confronted him after one explosive outburst. "You're not fine," she insisted. "I'm handling it," Nick snapped. But he was. The addiction wasn't just about alcohol, it was about control, about proving he wasn't failing. Yet each reckless decision pushed him closer to disaster. Victoria met with Nate, outlining her retaliation strategy against Billy. "He thinks he's untouchable," she said. "He's not." Nate listened carefully. Aligning with Victoria meant choosing a side in a war that was only just beginning. And looming over everything was the Malcolm twist. His return wasn't nostalgia, it was disruption. Relationships would be tested, loyalties questioned, truths exposed. As the week closed, Genoa City stood on unstable ground. Mariah was fighting for redemption. Abby was fighting for her family. Nick was fighting himself. Billy was fighting everyone. Victor was fighting to dominate. And Kane was fighting to survive. The alliances were shifting. The betrayals were mounting. And the consequences were just beginning. In Genoa City, storms didn't pass. They evolved. And next week, the fallout would be impossible to contain.